The Ross Hedgecock Report.
Yeah, it's a dirty job, rolling around in the sand, a wild crowd in swimsuits cheering you on nearby. But somebody's got to do it. Today we're going to meet the four men who do it the very best. And again, Sinjin Smith, Randy Stoklos Karch, close. Kent Steffes, professional beach volleyball players. They're champions of a sport a lot of people really dig. All right, let's, we didn't have film right there. I'm going to talk to Randy Stoklos. And he is, we have a tape? All right, let's go to tape. That's what I thought.
Everybody's free.
The guys that play it they're awesome looking.
I'm too sexy for my car, too sexy for my car, too sexy by far.
I mean, you just can't compare it. I mean, they're so physically in shape, their chest, their legs, everything about them.
It's exciting. Pick out little things, not just watch it for, you know, just the guys. I mean, that's great too, but.
Wow, that's some video. Nori Gonzalez did that. Let's give him a round of applause. That was fun. That was nice. All right, Nori, thank you. That was terrific. All right, you got a little idea what we're talking about here. This isn't the game you used to play down at the foot of Newport in Ocean Beach some years ago, playing this game. Not quite like that. Let's meet the players. Randy Stoklos is 32 years old now, is that right?
31.
31? Oh, well, let me not get ahead of myself here. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is getting sensitive. He's been on the pro beach volleyball circuit a long time, maybe 13 years?
For 13 years being a professional.
Yeah. Gosh, that's great. Okay, and sitting next to him is Sinjin Smith, kind of the grand old man of this game.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Been on the circuit for 16-some years.
It seems longer.
Seems longer. And sitting next to him is Karch Karch, and he is age 31 and turned pro, what, about 3 years ago, something like that?
Played on and off on the tour since about 1985. Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit longer. And kind of the baby of the bunch, but the guy who's doing real well this year, Kent Steffes, 24?
23.
23.
Birthday in a month.
Pro player for just a couple of years, right out of, I guess, UCLA, were you?
Yeah, UCLA, and I went to Stanford for a year, too.
Yeah, and turned pro a couple of years ago.
About
and
4 years ago.
Now,
yeah.
number one in the middle, when this tour started, what, in January?
Started first week of February, first weekend, yeah.
And you're number one in this thing so far. I don't know, I was looking at the standings with you guys a moment ago, and just since first week of February, not only are you number one, Kent, but $58,270 later. Not too bad.
No.
Not too bad.
Not at all.
I couldn't imagine this when I was a kid, that volleyball stuff we played for fun down on the beach was going to turn into a big pro sport like. I mean, this is big time.
You mean you used to play?
Yeah. and it's true that it was a long time ago. You know, and it was just fun. It was just kids that were surfing, and then when you didn't surf, you played volleyball. Isn't that how you started?
Yeah, basically when all of us started playing, except for Ken, of course, who came in when the money was pretty good. We started when no money was in the game at all. There were about 8 tournaments in Southern California, and we played for the heck of it, basically.
Yeah.
It was a big sport then, though. Even without money, there were thousands of people out watching the game, and there were great athletes playing the game.
Now, this thing has also, of course, become a medal event in the Olympics. And are you guys involved in any of that now?
Well, actually, they're trying to make beach volleyball an Olympic sport, but that probably won't happen until at least the year 2000.
Okay.
They tried to make it an exhibition sport this year. The other kind of sport, indoor volleyball, with 6 players on a side. The team is actually based here in San Diego, and both teams are on the road right now training for the Olympics.
Now, is there going to be the same kind of crossover like there is in basketball, where the pro guys are going back now as a result of a rule change to become part of the Olympics? Do you see that happening in what you do? Would you like to go back, be in the Olympics? What do you think, Karch? Any of you?
Well, each sport gets to decide who is eligible and who is not.
Yeah.
And in the sport of volleyball, now anybody can take any amount of money and still play on the Olympic team. So a lot of the guys who played in 1988 returned to the team for 92.
Okay. It's an interesting comment because I think some of you have, Sinjin, you wanted to be in the Olympics, and there was a kind of a thing where you were back there doing the modeling and the coach kicks you off the team, right? And you don't get to go.
How'd you know all that?
I don't know. I'm reading these magazines. You guys, they follow you like it's People magazine or something. You know, you get all the dirt out, you know, in these magazines that follow you guys around.
Well, I think as a younger player, though, people are going to start to choose early on in their career whether they want to be a beach volleyball player or an indoor player.
Yeah.
I know from the very start, said I want to be a beach volleyball player. I didn't have as huge aspirations in the Olympic team as I did on the beach, and I think that's what you're going to be seeing.
Okay, all right. Does it pay? We're talking about pay. Does it pay to be a pro beach volleyball player? You know, if you're in college right now, there's a team in here, as a matter of fact, in the audience. If you're good, it sure does pay. I want to show you what these four gentlemen have won in prize money so far in their careers. Randy's winnings almost add up to about $1 million. Sinjin not far behind. And after 3 years or so, Karch is homing in, I guess a little bit more than that, homing in on $500,000. Now he's looking at me, no, it's much more than that, right?
I think you're a little behind in that because Randy is the sport's first $1 million man. He did that,
Is that
actually,
right?
When was it, in February?
In February.
Oh,
all those
this
figures
month.
are the beginning of this year, and
Right.
so add whatever we've won this year and total those up. And
Okay.
I was the first one, my partner was the second one to achieve that accomplishment. And
All right.
together we've done quite a bit.
Let's give him a round of applause. Mr. Steffes here is not far behind. Given his age, he's going to be the first $5 million man.
Well, that's the interesting thing. It took us, you know, our whole careers to get to $1 million, and now you're going to see guys making $1 million in a couple years, and I figure in about 5 years he can make $1 million in 1 year.
Gosh, that's great. All right, well, as you can see, this is not small potatoes anymore. And looking back at 1991, each of our four players won between $197,000 and $291,000. And that does not even include the other business ventures and endorsements and all that stuff they get into, just like a lot of other pro players. We're going to come back and talk more about that. Get your calls, too, at 570-1339. We'll be back after this.
The 90s worn by athletes worldwide. Wrong. Now that's a spike. See it. Pro Beach Volleyball. The Miller Lite Open May 30th and 31st at Mariners Point. Catch the shuttle both days from the Sunrunner lot at SeaWorld and bring your ID to enter the beer garden. Pro Beach Volleyball. Brought to you by KNSD, 91X, and the mighty 690. What will happen to the cross on Mount Sol?
Pro Beach Volleyball, that's what we're talking about. The four top stars in the world are with us today. 570-1339 is our number, and Susan's on the phone. Susan, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if they could give some advice on tips on off-season training.
What do you guys do for off-season training?
Right, as far as improving your jump and things like that.
Particularly on jump, you guys go way up.
The best thing you can do is actually play the game, practice as much as you can. As far as increasing your jump, there's a number of exercises you can do to strengthen the legs, but if you want to get better in the sand, you're better off going to the beach and jumping in the sand, doing repetitive jumps.
Susan, how does that sound to you?
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, it does sound perfect. Let's get up in our audience here. A lot of people want to talk to these guys. Start with this gentleman here. Hi. Can you stand? Sure. Hi.
Hi, my name is Fred Abro, and I just wanted to ask Smith and Stoklos, was the movie Side Out the most embarrassing thing you ever did, or what?
No, actually, you know, the movie Side Out was a great experience for both Sinjin and I. Obviously, one of our first time roles. But the movie, you know, we didn't really have too much control in what the outcome of the movie was going to be, and we just played our roles just like any Hollywood character would come in and play their roles.
And we also figured that it was a great way to expose the sport to more people around the country, so if we had to lose once, you know.
Sounds like you were a little embarrassed, though.
You know, losing to guys who I don't think that could happen in real life. Well, the fact
it couldn't happen.
The fact that somebody comes from the Midwest and trains for a month or two and destroys a top team, whoever that may be.
Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Hi, my name's Shannon. I was wondering if, when you guys first started out, if you guys also went to college or getting any college degrees, or is it just this the only thing you did at first, and the only thing you've done?
I still go to college, as a matter of fact. I'll be graduating next year, and I got finals coming up next week, as a matter of fact, that I'm studying for.
We all went to school, or Kent's going to school at UCLA. I graduated in 1983. Sinjin graduated when?
In 79.
We all went to UCLA, and the greatest thing about it is that we all had the opportunity to have a scholarship to go there and play volleyball. So you can see the sport has not only taken off, but in that type of a level, too, that we've got that opportunity.
Did you think then that it would?
Personally, I thought that the sport would come a long, long way. You know, when I first started playing, there was no money. We just came down there, and it was more of a cult following, but just a huge following in itself. And, you know, whoever thought that there would be this much money out, I don't think anybody or any one of us, except for, you know, the truth is now out here, and we're playing for it.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, name's Chaz. This is directed toward Kent. I read about a month ago in a magazine about the whole Stanford UCLA thing, and I was wondering if you ever regretted not being able to kind of like play college ball with like Hilliard and Ivy and kind of dominate the sport.
At the time, I was very disappointed that I couldn't play college volleyball, but right now, the success I've had and the things I've done, I couldn't be happier with what's going on.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, my name is Janie, and I was wondering, do you like playing beach more than indoor, or do you just choose to play beach because of the money?
Me?
Just all you guys.
I love the beach game. You know, for me, it was the difference between playing in a gym for 6 hours or playing out in the sun on the beach for 6 hours, and so that was an easy choice.
Yeah. I can see. The rest of you feel the same way. I mean, you grew up with this.
Yeah, I like the indoor experience, and obviously Karch did because he decided to stay indoors. But growing up playing indoor volleyball was a great experience, and I was able to travel around the world, and I would do it the same way again.
Now, what is this about all the rivalries between you guys?
You've
got to talk about this?
You mean competitive athletes and rivalries?
Yeah, they're competitive athletes and
about?
rivalries. I mean, it seems like you guys really got, you know, kind of into this.
Well, when you're...
Is that part of the game?
If you're a competitive athlete, you want to win, and you're playing against your competitors. Well, there's going to be some competition going on there. And, of course, the media creates the rivalries probably more than they actually are. But, you know, when you talk about the two top teams in the sport, you're bound to have a rivalry.
Do you feel a pressure from the media exposure that you're getting, People magazine, and there's been a lot of, you know, the whole sport is getting, you're going to be getting a lot more of it, Kent, if these numbers hold up. Do you feel pressure from that? I mean, you're sort of the new guy, and Sinjin's been having this for some years. All of you have, really, but...
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. You know, if you say the wrong things, it could be taken the wrong way, and it's all of a sudden blows up right in your face and comes back to haunt you. So, you know, but, you know, Miller has really helped us, and they set us aside, and they set up opportunities for us to train with media people in order to, it's not so much to learn, to affect the media, but to learn how to get your point across the way you want to say it, because sometimes that's difficult.
So you've practiced at that as well as at the game?
Almost as hard, yes.
How about you, Randy? Is that true? Have you looked at practicing how you react to the media questions?
Well, anybody that's in front of the camera has to be responsible for what they have to say. And again, this sport is becoming such a big sport that really people are listening more than ever. And anything that we do say, it's magnified that 10 times over.
I mean, there's magazines, and this is was a little new to me, again, that it had gotten this big, but I looked back at all these magazines and all the pressures that it would seem to me that would put on you to have these people sort of following you and putting it on the cover of the magazine and speculating about this, that, or the other thing. Do you have a resentment? Sinjin, you sounded in a couple of quotes like you resented that a little bit.
The exposure is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a neat feeling to gain the respect from the people for what you've done. As far as pressure, yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on you. Randy and I were #1 for years and years and years, and everybody expected us to win. And if we got second place, which is incredibly respectable, people would say, what's wrong with Smith and Stoklos? Well, now the pressure's on these two guys because they've taken over the #1 seed spot. So we'll see how they fare.
Wow, look at that laugh.
Hi, my name's Peter. I have a question for Karch. I'm curious as why you decided not to go back to the Olympic team. Is it because of the money on the beach, or is it just because you don't, you got the 2 gold medals and you don't want to, take a chance of not performing well enough? Not as a team, really, not as yourself?
Well, I decided to retire 3 years ago, and we won 2 gold medals. There was really nothing more for us to win, nothing new to shoot for. And so the coach talked to me last year about coming back to the team, and I felt the same reasons. I wanted to spend more time with my family and not travel and train so much. And I also wanted to have some new goals to shoot for, like trying to be a part of the best team on the beach. Those still apply today as they did 3 years ago, and that's why I didn't rejoin the team. And The team's based here in San Diego. I know a lot of those guys well. I wish them the best of luck, but right now I'm having a lot more fun on the beach. It's really not a financial decision either, because you can make good money whether you're on the national team playing in the Olympics or playing on the beach.
Okay, hi.
Hi, my name's Randy Steele. Keeping up with all the partner changes going on the tour is one of my favorite things, and with no disrespect to Sinjin and Kent, you know, the winningest player of all time, the player of the 90s, I've felt for the last few years that a partnership of Karch and Randy would be pretty much unstoppable. If you guys, granted one of you have to switch to your offside, have you guys ever talked about that, or has that ever come up?
You know, everybody goes and talks, especially for as long as that we've been playing together, and it's easy to go and compare guys or try to put together the dream team or whatever. But Sinjin and I have had so much success, it's really been really hard for myself to just try to go and try to think about anybody else except for Sinjin. And obviously, you know, our commitment to one another is very important. But now playing in this game the way it is, beach volleyball, people expect us to see Sinjin Smith and Randy Stoklos out there. And so that's why, in big parts, why we're together for as long as we are.
And I think last year, though, you were quoted as saying maybe this year you would think about a change in partner.
Well, I'll tell you what, every year, I don't care who they are, everyone thinks about switching if they aren't performing the way, or they don't think their partner's performing the way they should be, or you're not finishing as high as you'd like to. So at any time that could happen.
Yeah.
But you know, we've been very lucky that we've done so well for 11 years, and if things should change, well, there's always a possibility.
And the only reason why I do that is at the end of the year is just to keep the fire burning for Sinjin for the following year.
Now it comes out. Okay.
This is just for anyone. My name's Chris Fino. I was wondering what you guys think about the new time clock that's kind of changed a lot of things around. It's
There's a thumbs down from Sinjin. You don't like the time clock?
No, I think it robs the fans and the players of volleyball. I know there's some fantastic games. Last weekend we played against Karch and Kent in a game that was a great game, and the time went out at 9-9. And then there were 2 more plays and the game was over because the clock was over. So I think if the game had gone to 15, it would have been a fantastic game all the way to the end. So yeah. I think it cuts the game too short. I mean, here you go. You got the 2 top athletes, or 2 top teams in the country, the world, and you're limiting them to a certain amount of play, less than an hour of volleyball. I mean, you don't do that in tennis. I mean, tennis, you have 3-hour matches or longer. In just about any other sport. So I'd like to see the games played longer, let the crowd see more volleyball, and allow the athletes to you know, pound it out.
Yeah. All right. So that you'd have, part of it would be endurance. Part would be the endurance of the game.
Well, yeah, that should be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, when we come back, we will bump and spike and set with the best of them. Our pros will show us some pointers coming up next. May have been in kind of a fog about what we're talking about here, side out and spike, and all of those terms have been sort of thrown around by the audience that does know what they're talking about, and these players. So maybe a little demonstration. I don't know. We can't do too much because the lights are hanging down, and if I break one of these, believe me, it'll be the job, right, Judy? Yeah, sure. So anyway, we will try to show a little bit of this because actions speak louder than words. What can you guys demonstrate within the unfortunate confines of our studio?
Well, the game starts with the serve. That's the easiest part. You know, you hit the ball over to your opponents. Now, your opponents are going to pass the ball.
But how do you hit it? In other words, like in tennis, isn't this a key part of the game?
The serve?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the serve is like the tennis serve. You throw the ball up in front of you, contact it above your head.
With the palm?
Right, with the palm of your hand.
Right.
Snapping your wrist over the ball. That'll send it over to your opponents. But here's where the tricky stuff starts.
All right.
That starts with a pass. You want to demonstrate for everybody the pass? We'll show you how to do it.
Let's see. Sure, show me how to do it. How do I do that? I got to do you hold that.
And give it so we can talk. Okay.
Yes, there we go.
So you want to put your hands together. Lay one on top of the other. Bring your thumbs. Okay, straighten your elbows. Rotate your elbows underneath. Here's your platform for the pass.
This is what I'm going to hit with.
You're going to pass it right here.
Right there.
Now you're going to bend your legs.
Bend the legs.
A little more. And when the ball comes to you, you're going to stand up and
like
come up with your
that
arm.
gives it all the power, all the body behind it.
All right, that's the easy part, all right? You've got to move your feet to get behind the ball.
That's right.
All right, that's the hard part. All right, now we'll see.
Because it's coming at 50 miles an hour.
Karch will throw one to you to see how you do on the pass.
All
right, and remember... Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute.
All right, here we go. That was a tough serve. That's it. Absolutely perfect.
Not bad.
All right. Okay, now, once you pass the ball, once you pass the ball, what you want to do is set the ball to your partner. Karch is going to show you the set.
Okay.
You take with your hands above your head.
Now this is, you're trying to get it up.
Right. There's the pass, the set, and then the attack.
Okay.
So here,
I'm trying to, you've just passed me the ball.
Okay.
Now I'm going to try and set you up at the net.
Now there's another kind of
That's right. It's called an overhand pass.
Gotcha.
Set. I'm going to set you up. We're going to pretend there's a net right there.
Okay.
I'm not actually going to do it because I don't want to break your leg.
Yeah.
And you're going to run up, jump about 5 or 6 feet in the air. If you can. And then just hammer it straight down about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. I got it. You guys got that?
The setting technique's very difficult. Karch is going to show you how to set the ball.
This is the tough part.
Let's just set it back to me.
You ready for one, Roger? And
Now,
spike, did you see that?
That's the spike, and that was very good.
And notice how easily he controlled it.
He did. He got right under it.
When you spike the ball, it's much like the serve. The set's going to go up high, close to the net. You're going to jump up and contact the ball at its highest point above the net and drive it down into the sand.
What is the benefit of the set? Now you have what, 3 set? Do you get
which now?
So how many sets do you get where
there's 3 hits.
Getting close to the thing. 3
when
hits.
You receive the serve, that's the pass.
Okay.
The second hit on your side is a set.
Right.
And that sets up your partner
you've
so
got to
that
get
he
it
can
over.
attack it down
Right.
into the court.
And you're trying to get as close to the net as possible.
Right, so that the attacker can really spike it anywhere he wants.
Where the other 2 guys are not.
Exactly.
I got it. This is not brain surgery. I understand
It's very simple, isn't it? All right, so Karch is going to set you one.
Put it where they
Karch is going to set you one, not too high, and you're going to just spike it over here.
I got to jump?
Yeah, a little bit. Here, I'll hold
I got to jump. Okay, you ready?
Okay, I'll pass the ball. Karch will set it up here, and you'll attack it.
I got to go up that high.
You'll attack it down over here.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump like okay.
Yeah, it's gonna come quick now. So get ready. You ready?
It's gonna come quick.
Yeah, there it is. That's it.
All right. Okay. I told you I used to play this game.
Did you measure that jump?
The jump was. You guys get how high do you get?
Oh. About this high.
No, how high do you get on the jump?
The net is 8 feet on the beach. That's at about this height up here, all right?
You gotta get
You'll
high.
find the good jumpers can get their head over the net. So you're talking about anywhere from, 36 to 40 inches of jump out of the sand.
Is that one of the keys to being really good at this game?
That and height.
You have to be tall to start with.
I don't think you need to be that tall. You need to have great ball control. Because with only 2 players over there, there are a lot of spots. There's a lot of open area. You could land a helicopter.
So it's
over
control.
there. So you need control and hitting all the different corners of the court, hitting it to where they aren't.
How much is strength a factor in this game?
A lot of guys do a lot of training, a lot of weight training to be stronger and feel stronger at the end of a long match or at the end of a long tournament, and that's an important factor at the end.
Okay, in addition to playing the game, and you mentioned that, Sinjin, the best way to become good at this game is play it. Do you do anything else, strength training, endurance training of any kind?
Yeah, definitely. What I do personally is I go down to the beach and I do those repetitive squat jumps in the sand, and I'll do short sprints also in the sand. It's much like the game itself, because during the game you're jumping and you're moving very quick in the sand.
Yeah.
So something very close to the game itself. And I'll do some dumbbell work for my shoulders, because the shoulders are probably the place that's injured the most for volleyball players, because you're doing that unnatural movement of spiking all the time. So you got to have strength in the shoulder.
Right. Any injuries? Have you had injuries?
I've been really lucky, but I guess the most common injuries, as Sinjin mentioned, are your shoulder. You're trying to spike that ball hard. Much like a baseball pitcher has shoulder injuries. Backs, because you're jumping and landing and you take that constant pressure all the time.
Right.
And knees for the same reason.
But that's the glory of the beach game. Because you're in the sand, your knees and back don't take as much pounding as they do in the indoor game on the hard surface.
Right. Well, they wear pads and stuff for that, right?
Yeah, but still, you're pounding on that ground, and that's harder. That's tough on your joints.
Okay, let's give them a round of applause for that demonstration. That was good. You guys sit down, right? Thank you. We're going to have some more with our pro volleyball greats when we continue. Later on, we're going to meet a well-known author who literally took a flyer to come up with material for his latest book. And that's all coming up after we get an update on the latest news stories from Mike Satoni. But first, do you know the answer to this volleyball tournament in San Diego the past 2 years? Well, the answers, Tim Hovland and Ken Steffes. Last year, Sinjin Smith, Randy Stoklos in 1990. Is that right? Did I get all that right? That's right. Okay, good. We'll have more with our Pro Beach players coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, let's join Michael Satoni in the news room for a news update. Mike, Turner's Point, Saturday from 9 to 5 on Saturday. Don't miss this one. And again, of course, on Sunday from 8 to 5 with the championship match at about 3 o'clock on Sunday. And get this, it won't cost you a penny to go. Free, right? Is it free?
Exactly.
This is the greatest sport I've ever come across. Free?
Unbelievable.
This is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Okay, now we had a lot of questions. Ooh, look at those hands go up. Let me get some questions out of the audience here. Let's get this young man first. Hi.
Hi, I'm Grant. And I was wondering, after all the years you've been playing volleyball, do you guys ever get tired out on the tour or during this off season? Do you ever want to quit?
Andy?
I'll answer that. You know, actually, what's going on with pro beach volleyball, it's really exciting for us to go and play each and every weekend. You know, the amount of money that we're playing for and the opportunities that we have to play in front of thousands and millions of people across the United States is a great opportunity, and we're all taking advantage of that.
Yeah, who would want to quit?
With a job like ours? No way.
I mean, really? Okay, hi.
Hi, my name is Melanie. I was wondering, what are some of the prominent sponsors you have on the Pro Beach Tour?
The major sponsor on our tour is Miller Lite. They put in about $3 million in prize money and twice as much as that in support. So they've really brought the sport to a status of amateur to now professionalism, and they've done a lot for the sport.
Miller Lite. Now, Kent is applauding Miller Lite. Kent, do you, in terms of endorsements, do people approach you saying, boy, you're a famous guy, how about endorsing my shoes? Or
yeah, a lot of the players have many endorsements. You know, Randy's got Fila, Sinjin with Side Out, Karch with Speedo, I have Oakley eyewear, and you can make just as much of that as you do in prize money.
Okay. That sounds like an easier way to make money, too. I know. Hi.
Hi, my name's Amy. I'm from Lemon Grove. I have two questions for all of you. Are there any, like, rivals? While you're sitting up here, are you guys, like, going, I hate you? And I know you're married, but are the rest of you guys, like, single?
Like, available?
Well, we don't have a net between us, so we can get along all right now. But on the court, as Sinjin mentioned before, we're very competitive, and we want to do everything we can to beat each other. Off the court, it's a different story. I'm the only one who's married. They're all single.
Oh, Sinjin's married.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On weekends, I'm married to Randy, but other than that, yeah, I'm married also.
You are married. Now, in the last thing I read, you had a girlfriend. Was that the one that you got married to?
No, a different one.
A different one. Good
No,
for you.
just kidding.
That's good. I like that. Okay. She's going to kill you. She's watching. Okay.
I know that.
Hi, my name's Matt Wilkinson. And Randy, I was wondering, what kind of mental preparations do you do before our games?
Well, mentally, you've got to be totally in control. You know, everybody can pass, set, hit, and that's really a great aspect of the game, that you got to be mentally tough each and every game. But there's no really process that you go through except for, you know, preparing yourself throughout the week. As you practice, you hope to play the same way.
Anybody else want to touch that one?
I think you have to think about your next opponent. And so if...
Do you think about, this guy is like this, or he's like that, or he's a little weak on this side, or he doesn't get to that corner, or...
You have to think about what their strengths are and their weaknesses are. If Ken and I are about to play Sinjin and Randy, we're thinking about our strategy just for that team, and they're thinking about their strategy against us. You have to adjust it. You have to, if you want to win tournaments, you have to be able to adjust to different opponents.
Okay, hi.
Hi, my name's Stephanie. And if you guys can play volleyball, what would you fall back on? Like, what would you guys do?
Golf.
Good for you. Who said that? Did you say golf?
The golf tour is becoming fairly large.
Good for you.
Part of it.
Is there going to be a seniors volleyball tour for you guys in a couple of years?
Perhaps. You never
We're
know.
going to work on that.
Look what the golfers have done. They're making more money as seniors than they did when they were active. Okay, let's get this young man in here. Let me stand on this side of you. We can all see him. Hi.
Hi, I'm Brian, and I was just wondering, what's your most favorite city to play in?
San Diego.
That's a setup question, right?
Yeah.
You know, you were telling me, Sinjin, during the break that there's some places where, aside from just the coastal cities where we obviously have an understanding of this game and a background and a history of it, that like the Beach Boys music when it first started getting into the Midwest, everybody started going surfer, even when there was no surf for 1,000 miles. Is that happening with this game?
It's unbelievable. Now there's sand courts all over the country in just about every state. Not just the states we go into, but places where you just wouldn't imagine they'd have them. I mean, even the places that we play in, like Philadelphia and Ohio and Milwaukee, Chicago, you wouldn't think they knew anything about sand volleyball, but they're playing it there. And you know, it's just incredible, the exposure and the amount of people that want to play this game.
Is it the California thing, or what's going on there?
I think initially it is a California thing, but I think once you start to play the sport and know the sport, it is the sport that is so attractive to people. And you look all over the world, I think it's the second most popular sport in the world. It's just in California, there's so much competition with other sports, it's been slow to catch on, but now it's here.
Okay, hi.
Hi, my name's Doug Sundstrom. I've got a question for Karch. I know you spent the last couple of years over in Italy, at least during a portion of the Pro Beach season. I know there's a lot of people here that think you could make a run at the King of the Beach if you stayed here for a whole season. Are you planning on doing that, or are you going to go back to Italy?
I don't plan on going back. I went to Italy to play professionally, and that was 6-man indoor volleyball. Don't plan on going back anymore, and I want to play on the beach as long as I can, until this guy dumps me, I guess.
All right, hi.
Hi, my name is Russell Whitman. I just want to know how old you guys were when you really started getting into volleyball.
Well, for myself, I started playing when I was 16 years of age. In fact, I first played in the first Open that was available from prize money itself. I know all the guys have been playing here from their early teens, and it's important to play that long because obviously the more experience you can get and the playing time you can, the better you're going to be.
What about you, the rest of you guys?
Yeah, most of us learn the skills of the game at a young age, but there really is no competitive volleyball. There wasn't until you got to high school. So that's when most of the competitive volleyball started for us. But there are guys now that don't start playing the game until college and that have done very well in the sport. So it's never too late to start, but the earlier the better for sure.
How about you, Karch?
I started when I was 6 years old.
Wow. How did you start at 6 years old?
My dad played. He's from Hungary. He was on the junior national team there. He escaped during the revolution in 1956 and continues. He still plays even every day during the week in Santa Barbara.
Great way to stay in shape.
Very good.
No question about that. And you started, I think you already answered this, but when did you start again?
I started when I was 16, when all my friends, the town I grew up with, everyone I knew, all my friends all played volleyball, and that was the thing to do.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I was wondering if any of you ever thought of being pro athletes, or did you have aspirations to do something else when you were younger?
Well, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a doctor, like my dad. I went to school at UCLA, majored in biochemistry, played here in San Diego with the national team, the Olympic team. And back then, there was really no pro tour. Now we play on, people may not realize it, but it's called officially the AVP Miller Lite Pro Tour. And we play on, from those humble beginnings, on 24 events throughout the country. I never imagined myself doing that, but there's the opportunity. I've got to do it. And so I put the doctor thing on the back burner.
And you guys are the best in the world right now at this, and San Diego has a chance to see you and the other pro volleyball players this Saturday and Sunday at Mariners Point. I wish you all the best. Let's give them a round of applause from San Diego. All right. When we come back, best-selling author Stephen Coates. He's flying high with a new book. Stay with us.